Welcome everybody to RGB Link webinar. I'm Levi. Thank you all for your connection. I hope I can offer you a little different with others webinar you might have joined. Now I will introduce the webinar rules. This is the webinar rules, and please put your question in the question and the answer section or message box. If a question is unable to be answered during this session, RGB Link team member will directly respond it by email. And we really hope this is interactive and engaging as possible as we wish. So in question and answer section, if you have any questions or suggestions on them, we can unmute your microphone. You are welcome to talk or discuss with us online. Today, Mr. Ben will share idea about 4K. Now I will give the microphone to Mr. Ben. And
nice to coming back and share the 4K challenge and find a 4K opportunity together for today. Today we will share these two topics, and we will find a solution with RGB Link after the first one. We will start from the discovery in we will start from the discovery for the 4K requirement, and then we will find the opportunity and find a solution together. The 5W is including what, where, when, who, and why. And firstly, we will come to the first one. What is video processing for scale at 4K challenge? What is the 4K challenge? The 4K challenge is coming from the content will come from the resolution Full HD to 4K version. This kind of revolution is happening every day. And to be clearly about what kind of this kind of revolution, we need to go back from this image. So maybe you still had some image about what happened on the 21-inch CRT monitor. This kind of monitor shares the information 720 by 576. And after some years, we had a monitor, same size, same resolution, 21-inch LCD monitor, 1920 by 1080. And of course, you had a CRT monitor before. It's 21-inch also. And then we come to a few years ago, the 4K monitor come into the life. And it's the same 21-inch. And I believe we will be very soon to have the 8K monitor in 21-inch in a few years after. Today, we will focus on the 4K version. The 4K version we're talking about, there is two key words. The first one is UHD. Mostly is the 3840 by 2160. And there is another keyword is the DCI 4K by 2K, 4096 by 2160. The DCI is especially for the digital cinema format. If we are in the same page about the 4K content resolution, And let's go forward to find where is the video processing for scale at 4K challenge. Where is the challenge? Firstly is the 4K content deliver and reproduction challenge. How is the 4K content will be delivered? The 4K content will be produced in different sampling rate. So this is the, for example, different kind of the sampling rate for the 4K content. The best sampling rate for sure is the 4K 2K, the color space in 444. And the processing bits is in 36. And if you can compare very clearly for this picture to the next one. The next one, the sampling rate is 420. And the bits is only 16. So if you check the detail part, you will see the left one is much clearer than the second one. And if we go to the resolution much smaller, the picture detail become much lost. This is one example for different sampling rate. With a different sampling rate, the data bus for the processing will be different. The 444 make sure the color space is in full range. It's known the data will not lost during this kind of processing. The color space 420 will have the data rate will become much smaller and the pixel detail will become lost because from this sampling rate, the color space, you can compare with the same pixels. There is the information or the component is missing. So for here, if you compare, the component here is only Y and U. But for the originally, these components should be Y, U, V together. There is another challenge for this kind of content delivery. What is the color range you want to be reproduction for the real world will make this data rate become different. This color range should be very familiar to you. And my colleague already shared this picture in last webinar. And this will show you much clearly. With the more higher standard, the pixel data rate will be much higher. So this is the 5 keep data rate checkpoint you can put into your book. So this is you can use to check what kind of device, what kind of the software you will decide to go on. The first one is the 12-bit. If you check this the 12-bit, you can compare with the 8-bit and 6-bit, for example. Another one is the BT2020. And this is quite often used word for now. It means is non-compressed. This is especially for the color reproduction. And this is the refresh rate, the frame rate to use for the content production or content reproduction. And this is the resolution. So if you want to have the resolution up to 8K, the processing data rate, 12 bit, no compress, 2020, the color range, HDR, in the refresh rate, 120 frames, then this kind of data bus, it will be very high. It means the content will become very heavy. The content will become much bigger. And to reproduction this kind of content will ask the device or ask the software, ask the display card, for example, to use a lot of capacity. Here we will have an example to show the difference between the HDR or no HDR. The third challenge comes from the transport. This is a quite good example to compare between the transport requirement. For the telecom communication, we start from the 2G and then 3G, and for now it's a 4G normally. And we are going from the 4G to 5G. For different kind of telecom communication network requirement, what is the really different? The data rate different for sure. And very important is the delay for the signal transmission. Much higher network, the delay will be much lower. The next challenge is coming from the 4K interface. You may have a question. If we go to the higher resolution, if we go to the 4K world, the interface should become much simple. But in fact, it's totally different. Here we have some example of the interface with formula. And there is still quite a lot of video interface we did not put into this picture. The blue one, especially, is for the 2K version. I'm sorry for the SDVOE, this should be the red one. And the red one is for the 4K. And if you put the interface like VGA, Composite, USB 2.0, USB 3.0, for example, then there is quite a lot of interface will be fully occupy your display. The resolution we go more higher, then we need to be compatible with more interface. And this kind of interface compatible bring us a lot of challenge. This is example for HDMI. The HDMI, we start from the Full HD to 4K 30, and now we go to the 4K 60. And some of the TV set is coming already with the HDMI 2.1 8K. This is the display port. The display port, we start from the display port 1.1, the Full HD version, and now we can find display port 1.2, the 4K version, quite easily. And if you go to some of the monitor, you can even find the display port 1.4 in the monitor or in some of the graphic card. This is the SDI version. The SDI, we start from the standard SDI. Then we come to the Full HD SDI, 3G SDI, and then 12G SDI. Since we are still has a lot of challenge for the 12G SDI in the broadcasting market, but the 8K SDI is coming. The 8K SDI is with the U SDI. Here is the information for the U SDI. For the Ethernet interface, that's we quite familiar for everyday's daily work. Cat5 cable, Cat6 cable, and with the HD-based-T. The HD-based-T version from the 1.0 is the Full HD transmission. HD-based-T 2.0 is for 4K 30, and HD-based-T 3.0 is coming to landing now, is 4K 60. The HD-based-T 1.0 requirement for the Cat5e plus. HD-based-T 2.0 required for the Cat6, and HD-based-T 3.0 will requirement for the Cat6 higher Cat7. This is the NDI introduced during these 2 years. For the, it starts from the Full HD also, and now is 4K 60. But it's lucky for us. It's only requirement for the 1 gigabyte network equipment. And for sure, this kind of transmission has some compressed and some of the data detail will be lost. SDVOE is coming since almost about more than 3 years. Very few compressed, but still need a lot of support from the router. It requirement for the 10 gigabyte router. The Cat cable requirement for Cat6 or higher. If this kind of content delivery and reproduction challenge is clear, we will go on with the one is the video processing for scale at 4K challenge. One is the 4K challenge coming to us. Let's go back to London 2012, the London Olympics. This is the first time the 4K broadcasting out. And then this is the Brazil World Cup, the second time for the 4K content broadcasting delivery. If we do not have a challenge for the virus situation now, the Tokyo Olympics will be happen on July. But because of this situation, the Tokyo Olympic will be delayed. We hopefully Tokyo Olympics can be delivered on 2021. Then we can have a chance to have the Olympic broadcasting in 4K quality. This is the roadmap for the Olympic broadcasting information. It can bring you to some years ago from the satellite transmission for the standard definition content, and it will bring us to next year for the 8K Olympic Games. Who is the video processing for scale a 4K challenge? Who will face this kind of challenge? We will take example for these three content delivery provider. The first one is broadcasting. The second one is telecom. The third one is internet. These three content delivery provider, they are matching to each other. And this kind of matching, we are watching every day. But now you can watch your TV on the internet. For now, you can watch the TV from your cell phone. And for now, you can use your TV to go to the internet. So they are connection to each other. And this kind of connection will become much challenge with the 4K blended. Here we share two examples. One of the example is from the China CCTV station. This is the big day for the Chinese people every New Year. For the 2020, the Spring Festival Gala is the first time we use the 5G and 8K broadcasting. And we are proud to say Archblink is taking care for this kind of content blending for these events. This is the second project story case. The one happened in Wuhan for the military war games. And this open ceremony is used 4K broadcasting also. And Archblink take care of this kind of content delivery. And then we go to find out why is video processing for scale a 4K challenge? Why the challenge? The challenge is coming from the content itself. From this picture, we can see very clearly the content is from the normal resolution for standard resolution to the Full HD, and now is the 4K. And if we check what is the data rate, for example, 4K by 2K, the data rate is more than 10 gigabytes. For the display system doesn't matter the display is the projector, monitor, consumer display, or the digital LED displays is also challenge for them because they need to try to use same size area to put much more pixels. Compared with the 2K version, they need to put 4 times pixels in the same size area. For the capture and for the content playout, this is the same is the challenge 2. Here is the picture to show us an example. The first two is for the content capture. And for the second tools, this is the two graphic cards for the content playout. Because for a lot of data to be the playout, or a lot of data to be the capture, a lot of calculation need to be happens. And very important, we can now put an airplane to do the 4K captures, because one human cannot carry on an airplane to do that. So we still need to count on to use almost the same size camera to be carried on by a capture guys. Just now we went through the discovery of the 5W for the 4K. And during this discovery journey, we will find out all of this 5W is coming from the vision desire. Why, what, when, where? It happens because people is looking forward to have a better vision. This kind of requirement for a better vision, this kind of desire drive the image processing technology goes to resolution higher and higher. And let's go on with this information and find out this kind of desire, how to drive ArtBlink to find the solutions. How is the video processing for scale at 4K challenge? This is the one of the picture and one of the structure we use to find out how to take care this challenge. From this picture, let's read together from left to right. The first one on the left is the source. Source means the content. The second one for the transmission. The transmission means content delivery. And before the content delivery to the display on the right, the content will go through quite a lot of different processing channels. And today, we will focus on this kind of structure for 4K application. And this kind of structure for 4K application, we will focus on the content delivery to the display. How the content will be delivered to the display, we call that is the processor. We can read this picture together again. On the left is the source, and on the left, this is the content. The content is coming from the capture camera. The content is coming from the playout machine, including the media server, including the Blu-ray player. The content can be delivered with the cable. The content can be delivered wireless. And on the right, there is a lot of different kind of display. How many different kind of display we were talking about today? We're talking about the 2K displays. We're talking about the multiple 2K displays. We're talking about the 4K displays. We're talking about multiple 4K displays. To make sure the content can be delivered correctly to these different kind of the displays, we will share the example of RGBlink solutions. The first one we want to share as an example is the content to deliver from the 4K to the 2K displays. And Flash 4ml is a good 4K tools to make sure this kind of delivery is correctly and flexible. Some of you should already join. Some of you already joined the webinar we opened on April to share about the information about the Flash 4ml. And I will quickly to go through this information and to help you to understanding why Flash 4ml is a good 4K tools to take care of this kind of 4K content delivery. This is the back panel for the Flash 4ml. And on the left, the purple one is the inputs. On the right, the blue one is the outputs. For the inputs, in total, it will support 2 slots. And on the bottom, this 4K slot is the standard. On the top, this slot is option. And if you check this slot, you will see it can support 4 optional modules. In this picture is an example, the module including the HDBaseT 1.0, USB 2.0, DVI, and HDMI. You can change different input module for this slot, including SDI, Type-C, fiber, for example. And on the output, the standard version is with 2x2 DVI outputs. And these 4 DVI outputs are optional. These 4 DVI outputs are optional for the backup. On the top is the Flash 4ml, the front panels. This front panel is quite familiar to most of the RGBlink partners and RGBlink customers. Quite RGBlink standard, and user and the menu system is the same to most of the RGBlink equipments. Here is the example about the modular for the inputs. This example for the modular for the outputs we shared just now. Why the Flash 4ml is a good 4K content tools. The Flash 4ml is a good tools because it's a bridge to connection from the 4K content to multiple 2K displays. Here is an example on the background with a 2x2 DVI outputs. These 2x2 TV outputs support a 4K by 2K resolution. And then on the top, you can put another 4 contents to share more information together. Flash4ML support other applications. Just now we share the information as an example like this. The 4K content can be delivered in 2x2 background and 4 layers on the top. It's a good tool to bridge the 4x1 as background, 4 layers on the top. It's a good bridge to connection the 4K content to 2 separate display outputs. Together is a 4K by 1K. And this is another 2 applications. Let's check this one first. The Flash4ML can do the preview with 2 main outputs and then take the transition to the another 2 main outputs to make sure everything is in monitoring. And this is another example with the extending from the top. Because for this application, it will use, for example, the 3 outputs as a background, and then put another 3 layers on the top. And here is some of the key features will help you to understand in the Flash4ML, which we just shared. But this information will be much important. Just now we shared with the 4 outputs as a background. Another 4 layers will be on the top. So the 4 backgrounds plus 4 layers on the top in total is 8 layers. And very important, the Flash4ML supported the genlock for the input to the outputs to make sure all the outputs can be synchronization together. This is one of the case of study which use the Flash4ML to make it happen. In this case study, the display system is 8K by 1K. Just now we share one of the application. This kind of 8K by 1K for background, it use 4 outputs, 4 by 1. And then other content can be put on the top with another 4 layers. In this example, the signal goes out with the fiber transmitter and receivers to make sure to match the requirement for the distance. We will go to another application about the 4K content delivery to the 4K displays. Let's find out which processor will match this kind of application. Some of you already come to your heart. The D4 is a good tools to match this requirement. In this requirement, the 4K content will be delivered to 2 different 4K displays. So this kind of requirement is different to the first example, which we use the Flash 4ml. The 4K content delivery to multiple different 2K display systems. That's why we use the Flash 4ml as a bridge from 4K to multiple 2K. On the second example, the 4K content will be delivered to two different 4K displays. For Flash 4ml, it cannot support the 4K output for now. The D4 is a good answer to support this kind of application. Our colleague set up the D4 presentation on April. Some of you also already joined, so I will go also quickly to share the D4 information. And if you already familiar with that, you can come to your mind to ask you some of the question about D4, and then we can think together with each other to make sure the information is correctly. Okay, let's come back with the D4. D4 is also built with the modular design. So this kind of the modular design looks very similar if you compare with Flash 4ml and D4 in the same presentation document. Just now we share about the Flash 4ml. The input is with measurement 2 optional slots, right? So for the D4, the same. Here, the purple one is 2 optional slots. For the output, sinks is 2 optional slots too. But on the bottom, this one is standard. We have already released the optional input module for the D4, including HDMI 2.0. The HDMI 2.0 input module supports HDMI 2.0 input with the loop. So it's 2 inputs, 2 loops. For the DisplayPort, it supports 2 inputs without loop. And for the 12G SDI, it's with 2 12G SDI inputs and 2 12G SDI loop. For the output module, as the HDMI 2.0 output, this is the standard module. These 2 HDMI 2.0 output can be the same and can be fully independent. For the DisplayPort outputs, is with 2 DisplayPort 1.2 outputs. This is optional. We are coming to delivery the full DVI output module as optional, which will be delivered on the Q2, the quarter 2 of this year. One of the applications for the D4 to take care of this kind of content delivery. One example is the content will be delivered to 2 4K displays. One of the 4K display will working as a preview, and another 4K display working as a program. So the operator can preview the content on the 4K displays. After the content review is done, it will take switching to the program outputs. And D4 supports also the other application with 2 4K display systems. This is the example for another options. This one and the second one, these two 4K displays, they were put together to support 4K by 2K application. And this is another example. These two displays to support different resolution or different scalar. This is one of the case study which we share just now in the beginning about the 4K content challenge. In a military war game, we use the D4 to lend it the 4K signal from the telecom to the events display systems. And we use the D4 at that time. This is an example how the events happens. The content is landed by D4 as inputs, and then for the D4 outputs, go by the fiber transmission to measure the distance requirement. And after the fiber signal receiver, it goes to the display systems. We will take this chance to help you to record the premium cable solution from ArchBlink. On the second example, we share the content is coming from the 4K and the display system is the 4K2. Because the content and the display system both are in 4K, we recommend to use the cable with the premium quality to make sure the content is stable without the signal lost. We'll come to more 4K applications. The third example. The third example, the 4K signal will deliver to multiple 4K display systems. This multiple 4K display system is more than 2. So on this display, you will see here has the 8K LED display system, and here has the 8K LCD video walls. You can ask yourself a question. If you had this kind of a project requirement, what is the product you will put here to take care of this responsibility? For me, I will have 2 answers. The first option, the first answer from me is S7. I remember I take care about the product information presentation on April. And we're talking about a universal processor. And if you join with me to go through ArchBlink universal processor, you will find S7 is one of them. We take today as a chance to go back to understanding the S7 quickly. For S7 is fully modular design. The modular design comes with 40 optional inputs and 40 optional outputs. And the power supply is optional too, to support the redundant, to support the backup. We bring more options to support the creative design. And that's why the rotation module is here. And for sure, you can put the rotation module into the output optional. For you, will more easy to remember. S7 module design, input, output, power supply. For the S7, we release not only just for the 2K modules. The 2K module including the composite, VGA, USB 2.0, HDBaseT, 264 streaming, 3G SDI, DVI, HDMI 1.3. We released the 4K module 2, including HDMI 2.0, display 1.2, 12G SDI, and SDVOE is coming. For the output module, we released already the 2K version, including the analog VGA, HDBaseT 1.0, 3G SDI, DVI, HDMI 1.3, streaming 264. And we already released the 4K version for the HDMI 2.0. This module is with two separate HDMI 2.0 outputs. And the SDVOE output module is coming. As today we're talking about the 4K, so we will focus on the 4K module. This is the two 4K module we released for the universal processor already. 12G SDI and HDMI 2.0, DisplayPort 1.2 for inputs. For the outputs, we released two HDMI 2.0 output. These 2.0 output are totally separate. And very important, it supports 4 layers for outputs. Here is one of the examples how the S7 will take care the multiple 4K display systems. The S7 supports maximum 8 module outputs. We take the example for each of the output is 4K module. The 4K module output, each module is with the 2 HDMI 2.0. The A module together is 16 4K outputs. Okay, we can design these 16 4K outputs. 4 of them with 4 LCD video wall. 4 of them we can use for 4 LED display systems. 4 of them we can use for another 4 4K displays. And we can use another 4 to 4 projectors. And S7 we will take care to delivery from the input, the contents here, to share the content in different display systems. For example, the content with A and B. These two 4K contents, we can show here all the displays with A. And of course, you can show B on another 4K display systems. S7 can manage this content with different presets. Preset 1 will be used like this way. Preset 2, you can change the content A to B and change the content B to A. So like this. This is one of the case study in Hong Kong VTC University. Is with the 2 pieces S7 for this interactive application. So if you check very detailed, or if you follow with me on last month's webinar, we share this project. This LED display is the design with the interactive content for the people who are visiting here. They can use their home to management the content on the display. And this is the drawing for your information. And to help you to remember this application, we put this module in S7 as an example here. It's at S7. What is another answer will come to your heart. And for sure, for me, I will bring the answer for S14. With S14, this is the top model for RGB for now. Support up to 52 inputs and 40 outputs. And this is some of the application idea, application example with the S14. S14 share the same inputs, the same outputs, the same power supply with S7. That means the module you are using for the S7, you can use with the S14. This is the case study we share just now also to explain about what's the 4K content challenge. The Spring Gala for 2020, which is taken care by S14 for the applications. And this is the example to show you how is the content to delivery by S7 to the stage displays. The content is coming from the graphic systems. I would like to check. I would like to use the media server instead of PC here. And the content is coming from the camera. And these are 4 camera delivery 4 12G signal to the S14. And this is the configuration example for this project. This is the universal processor family. And I will take this chance to help you to recall this image for the S-series. The S-series features with the open API. So the third-party control system can manage the S-series remotely. It's a modular architecture, which we already shared just now with S7 and S14. This modular design is totally shared between different models. It can take care different kind of the market application from the control room, meeting rooms, live production, rental and stage, security, control rooms, the SIM park, display systems, the simulation of traffic control rooms, the defense, the military market, the ballroom, especially for the corporate application. Thank you for your join, and this is my sharing to share with you about my understanding about the challenge for the 4K and the solution with the RGB for the video processors. Then we will bring back and we will go to the next sessions.
Hi guys. Now is our exciting question and answer time. And show yourself up in the chat box if you have any questions. We will unmute your microphone. You are welcome to talk or discuss with us online. Any questions? You can direct ask through the microphone. Message. Sorting total, how many inputs and how many outputs?
Okay. Andrews. Thank you for Andrews. The S14 supports mass 52 inputs with 1 unit. And it supports mass 40 outputs.
Thanks. And any other question? Is there going to? Thanks, Ego. The answer. The question is there going to buy any device with 4 2K inputs and 1 4K output?
To support 4 2K inputs with 1 2K outputs, I will suggest you to use the D4 for now.
And Jules Maria, the question is, no 12G SDI output for D4 will be released in the future.
Thank you for the question from Jos. We will release the 12G SDI outputs on Q3 this year. In our roadmap, the 12G SDI will deliver on IBC 20 and 20. For today, we heard there is no good news. The IBC 2020 will cancel, but our roadmap will not cancel. We will keep release this module for D4.
Any other questions?
You're welcome.
Any other questions? And also you can direct talk with Mr. Ben to talk about your question. I can unmute your microphone or type in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you all for your joining and the connection. And after this webinar, we will upload the recording to the YouTube and the other website, official website. And very thanks for your joining. And I would like to ask your feedback and to help us improve the experience and the product solution. And after this webinar, please take 1 minute to help us on the feedback by the link. We will share through the email. Very thanks for your joining and very thanks, Mr. Ben. And this the next time section next time of the webinar. The topic also is the 4K solution, and we will talk about the 4K. And if you want to know the details, you can join join us in 10 p.m. 13 May China time. Very very thanks for your joining and support us. Very thanks.
We also welcome your join to ArtLink certification systems. And this kind of certification will be working out together with ArtLink different areas, office, and with also ArtLink distributors. We'll also update the schedule for the certification program, so you can join with us in your arrival.
Thanks, guys, and see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.